the market is very competitive, and I've shared this statistic before, and it's still a very much a similar stat that everybody in the recruitment field uses. There's studies that supports it to say that for a single job that is advertised, a recruiter or an employer can receive about 250 job applications. So you've got to consider this in this process, because when you're applying for a job or you're considering trying to captivate or catch the attention of your future employer, what is it that you're doing to set yourself apart? So, how is your personal brand? How is that professional persona really standing out there? And it can be not only important around moving. I have so many conversations with individuals that say to me, Elise, it's about elevating my brand within my organization. It may be about pivoting within my company. So it doesn't always have to be around, I'm in a job today and it's about, leaving my current organization for another organization. It could be just around the visibility, the value proposition, the differentiation within my current organization. So you do want to stand out, and it's not just about your job today or your career today, it's also about your career in the future. And we, having attended this session with John Cena talking about the future of work and work 2.0, the workplace of 2.0 and what that means, it's important to look at your skills. What are your skills today and what are your skills of the future? And ensuring that you continue to remain relevant, and perhaps the studies are being added to your pot and your value proposition today, and that's relevant today, but it's also to ensure and be mindful of what it's going to look like in the future. So we are continuously going to be evolving, and we're going to have to continuously keep learning. And I think that's where Valuate is such a great platform as well, because you get exposed to so many nuances and so many different elements to help you in your journey, whether it be now or in the future. So very much we talk about navigating our career transition or our job search around investment in self. Time is such a precious commodity. There's Vic saying, gosh, I thought today was Saturday and we're still on Friday. And we lose track of time. We get so caught up, our days flow into each other, and we're trying to juggle activities. We might be trying to juggle work and studies, and it might be a case, well, I'm applying for a job and I'm not getting results, I'm not getting feedback, or I know that I don't have an effective CV and I need to allocate some time to that. It may be a case that I don't really know how to market myself, so therefore I've got to invest some time in that introspection and really assessing what is my true value proposition and what sets me apart. So key, I think, whether it be preparing for a job interview, whether it be positioning myself for the market today or in the future, again, I think job searching it's key for me to remind you and bring the slide up, because it is all about marketing. It's about your brand, obviously, but there are so many components that make up your brand, which is my differentiation, what sets me apart, my value, my relevance and applicability. Your CV needs to be relevant. It needs to demonstrate relevance and applicability. If I know who my target audience is, what is going to be relevant to them? What are they going to be wanting to hear from me, see from me? If I don't know who my target audience is yet, what is it that I'm looking to attract? And who is that target audience? And, it might be, I know that my target audience might be an industry. So I know that I'm wanting to sort of move into an industry. I'm wanting to be in innovation. I want to be in an innovative, creative environment, for example. But where is that employer? Where is that where is that company? So that might require search and some research into that. But, ultimately, if you're wanting to attract that recruiter, that employer, that person in the organization, you've got to enable visibility, and you've got to be able to stand out. So really keep this in mind when you are looking at navigating your career transition or whether you are job searching. We're going to unpack that a little bit more detail. So, a saying that I love to share and I think is so important, you have knowledge, you have experience, you may know people, and sometimes we underestimate who we are connected with, or who is in fact in our network. Vic spoke earlier, you saw on the presentation earlier, we've got Ishmael that's going to be joining a session later on. And Vic met him through my association with Gibbs. So we are connected. We know people who know people. Already on your LinkedIn profile, you might be connected with people and you don't realize that those people could be door openers for you. So, before we jump out and start to build new networks, who are we connected with already right now, and who could possibly assist us in our career transition or in our career journey? So back to that visibility, who actually knows me? And I'm more than just a name and a surname. I'm more than just a job title. I have experience, I have qualifications, I have knowledge, I have potential. So how do you demonstrate all of that? And that will bring us to, we'll talk a little bit more around LinkedIn. So, this is where you have such an incredible platform like LinkedIn to help create visibility. And it's not just about, okay, I have a great LinkedIn profile and I've got a digital CV on LinkedIn and I sit back and leave it. You've got to work it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that now. So that who knows me is so important. Yes, Vic.
Sorry, I really wanted to, I like that slide, and just really to re-emphasize to everybody that previous slide that you had up. This idea back in the day that, it used to be about your qualifications or this, that, and the other skills and all that. All those are relevantly, they're true, right? And it used to be back in the day about who you know. That is also true. But today is about who knows you. And utilizing the power of social media in order to make that happen, as you're about to demonstrate, is so powerful. You are able to get yourself out there and make sure you position yourself in such a way. I love this slide because it's so true. It's not about what you know and who you know, but it's about who knows you.
Absolutely, Vic. And I think just on that, and just to elaborate, and we need to drill this into you. And I think it's so important. It's such a simple, but yet such a deep phrase or saying or slide, because, it's not, as I said, it's not just about a name and a surname and a job title and a company that I work or a qualification or experience. It's about, this potential, this knowledge, this understanding, this interest. So, again, a CV will be an opportunity for you to indicate and specify what I've done and what I have. But it's very difficult to determine potential or an understanding or an interest. And I think, again, this is where, what are the layers and the depths to who you are? And I think this is where that marketing opportunity comes in. So most of us are not natural marketers. You may be introverts sitting in this session at the moment and go, wow, it's so difficult for me to put my voice out there. But, it is one of those situations that, the saying is, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. It is important. You've got to be able to start to use, platforms where your audience is in order to stand out from your competition. So a CV is not just enough. A basic LinkedIn profile is not enough anymore. And so you've got to look and say, well, what am I doing differently? And what am I doing different to my competition out there? Because job searching, navigating a career transition or navigating a job search is very competitive. Back to the statistic earlier, you're not the only CV that's being submitted. You're not the only person going into a job interview. And you may have experienced that, or you may not have experienced that yet, where you're submitting your CV and you get zero feedback. You submit your CV and you get declined. I've spoken about it and shared a couple of content, some content on LinkedIn around, it doesn't mean that if you're rejected from a company, you cannot apply again. But it's important for you to understand, possibly why you were rejected or why you didn't get feedback, so that you can learn from this back to, your strategy and understanding where you can improve, and really understanding where you can improve in terms of the process. It doesn't mean that if you're rejected, you cannot reapply or apply at a point to that particular company. So absolutely, follow me on LinkedIn. I try and share a lot of content around these challenges that we all have when it comes to navigating our career transition or our job search. But I think, again, this is a powerful slide in terms of really truly understanding who your target audience is. And you may not know who the company is or the person is yet. Start with that industry and say, well, this is the industry I'm interested in, or I align to, or where I want to be. If it's around data and getting involved in data, it might be, belonging to a startup or joining a startup. It might be belonging to a global NPO or an NPO, or, again, start to look at the different sectors and then starting to look at who those organizations actually are, because then you can start to develop a strategy around that industry and around that company. So, as I said, it's great to understand who your target audience is, but why? And what is it that you're wanting? What is that message? What is that content that you're wanting to get across? So what is it that you're wanting to achieve now that you've identified who your target audience is, and what is going to be your implementation strategy around that? So where's your visibility? As I said earlier, we've mentioned TikTok. It could be Instagram, it could be Facebook. You've got to see where your target audience is hanging out. And obviously, LinkedIn is a key one, because LinkedIn is a professional networking platform with so many layers to it. But it is the hunting ground for networking. It is the hunting ground for talent. But again, what you've got to understand when it comes to LinkedIn is there's algorithms and artificial intelligence that sits in it. Much the same when you start to look at the different job portals or search engines. So you may have used those before as part of your job search. You might have used platforms like Indeed or Zuna or Career Junction or PNet, or from a graduate portal point of view. There is going to be levels of intelligence and AI and algorithms in those platforms as well. Equally, when you're applying for a job to a corporate company directly, graduate opportunity for 2024 with F&B, there's an opportunity for you to click apply and apply. You are going to go into what we call an application tracking system process. And in that is going to be artificial intelligence, AI, and algorithms that's going to be built into the screening and the evaluation of your application. So, back to relevance and applicability when you are applying for jobs, this is why it becomes so important for those that have attended the CV sessions to customize your CV, look at the requirements of the job advert, making sure that your CV is speaking to that, and customizing your CV for the purposes of applying. So, when we're looking at job searching or navigating our career transition or our job search, it does require effort. It means that you've got to put time into this process. It's not just a case of click and apply and just send the same CV, possibly making the mistake and sending the same cover letter as well. The cover letter needs time. It needs dedication. It needs to be something that sets you apart. Why are you applying for this job? Why are you applying to this particular company? Your CV, as I said earlier, needs to be customized. And you've got to keep in mind that in this job application process, it could be that your CV is assessed by the AI on application, or it might be by a human. It could be that on application, your LinkedIn profile or your social media could even be assessed by the AI. Or it may be only at the point of interview that I, as an employer or recruiter, jump on to social media to find out what I can pick up about you, see if I can get an indication of who you are, have a look at your LinkedIn profile, and see if there's any depth. Because your LinkedIn profile can be very much a supportive portfolio of evidence of words that you're actually saying on your digital CV or LinkedIn profile, or also on the CV application.